roll. Okay, so the first thing we do is ask that you say and spell your first and last name so that we have it on the recording.
Okay. First name is Emile, E-M-I-L-E. Last name is Pelletier, P-E-L-L-E-T-I-E-R. I also go by Father Bud, like the beer.
Like the beer. Do you, and I heard you speak at either a mid-year or a national meeting. Are you
sorry
still,
about that.
no, it was very good. Are you still assigned as the priest liaison with the conferences? I think that's what you had spoken about at that time.
I used to be the mission advancement officer, a mission advancement officer for the society here. Since then, I've gone back into parish work,
Okay.
But I'm still the spiritual advisor to the board of directors.
Gotcha.
So, and that was my original contact with the society as well.
So the first story we worked on is the One at a Time scholarship.
Oh, yeah.
We spoke with Terry Wilson.
Oh, wow.
We spoke with Marcelino. We spoke with other scholarship recipient and a mentor. It would be, by all means, the ultimate in systemic change. It really speaks to that. And I ask you about that, how education speaks to systemic change.
Right. You know the statistics like I do that, education is a primary predictor of poverty in the world, and that having access to higher education can certainly help a person throughout their entire life. The One at a Time program does exactly that, and what I love about it is I love the title One at a Time. This isn't try and get everybody all together. No, let's just work one person at a time, just like Jesus and the apostles, right? One at a time, one person at a time, one life at a time, and watch that begin to grow and blossom and spread. It's an amazing thing.
With so many of the various programs that go on across the country, you could certainly have any social service organization, any business, anything give out scholarships, but the Vincentian differential is that mentoring that goes on primarily with Vincentians. Speak to that as a example of person-to-person contact. The Vincentians walk with somebody a little bit longer than others do.
Right. I think it was probably said best. Pope Benedict, Pope Emeritus Benedict, said in his first encyclical, God is Love. And he talked, the whole second part of that encyclical was directed toward Catholic charitable groups. And in it, he said, we're not a social program. We offer something different. We offer that look of love, which is Christ. And the whole Vincentian way of walking with someone, when Vincentians go out 2 by 2 and they meet with the families, and they go out, they let them know they're not alone. They're not alone in their situation. They're not alone in the realities of their life. And that one-on-one contact gives the Vincentians a chance to share the love that they've received from God personally with one other person. They would never put it in such high-sounding language, right? They would just, this is just what we do, but that's really what they're doing. And the One at a Time program does that, especially that mentoring piece, where that person says, I'm invested in you. I'm not invested in your grades. I'm not invested because we have money behind this. I'm invested in you and your life. And it's all about, the education is all about improving the life of that person. It's not about getting a bang for the buck. It's not about, it'll change a statistic. It's one-on-one. You're important to me, and I am here to let you know that.
As we were interviewing the folks, I see words and pictures, as I think, and I was thinking of these folks as diamonds in the rough, but I kind of, as the interviews went along, I thought, no, these are all very talented, smart people, but they don't have the right opportunity. Their family upbringing may not have put them in position. With both individuals, they may not have ended up in higher education.
Exactly.
Because of their family situation.
Right.
Talk a little bit about the importance further on in investing in people, but seeing the full potential and capacity of the person.
Right. What really excites me about the society, and especially the One at a Time program, is that what it does is it gives the truth of what the church has always said about human life. Every human life is a gift from God, and we need to treat every human life that way, as a gift from God. And that's what the One at a Time program does. Again, it's not about, we have identified this person and they have the proper skills and traits and unique things. It's meeting a person and simply saying, we know who God created you to be, and that's a loved child of God. And we want to help you grow in that. We want to help you understand what that means through education, through whatever it is that we can offer. We want to show you how much we value you personally in your life.
In Orlando, we started in part prison ministry because Vincent de Paul ministered to the prisoners.
Exactly.
Inmates. And I
It
think,
just keeps swirling.
Yeah.
Does it really?
I think
It loves me.
the importance of scholarship, you want to get him
St. Vincent's
before,
not gonna get
don't
mad
knock,
if
don't
I'm
knock
not-
Vincent's
No, that's
head
St.
off.
Francis. You can do like my aunt. She always says, go see God.
Now.
Exactly.
I think he did just go see God.
Okay.
I think. Okay.
That we started
The prison.
prison ministry in part because Vincent de Paul ministered to the incarcerated. I think it's unique with the scholarship program that the founder of the society is a 20-year-old college student.
Yes.
To have that weave through in a council or conferences goes back to that spirit of Ozanam.
It does. It really helps that whole spirit of Frederick, Blessed Frederick, to shine forth. That's one of the things that our bishop here has found to be so remarkable about the society is that it was, a 20-year-old college student. It wasn't someone with years of knowledge and expertise and someone with a grand plan and a great design. It was simply one person going out and saying, I need to do this.
There are lessons from that period of time that remain very fresh and current now. Ozanam was challenged in his faith.
Yes.
What are you Catholics doing?
Yeah.
And you can still ask that question. It's a question that remains relevant even to today.
Right.
And the very good example of Ozanam, you see that parallel between providing educational opportunities and scholarships to young people
Yeah.
with the founder, even though a lot of people may not understand that the founder was Ozanam and not Vincent de Paul
Right.
or Vincentians seem. But do you see that uniqueness, that something of that nature geared to graduating students, college age, that goes back to 1833 in Ozanam?
It really does. With Ozanam and having that, that wonderful spirit that college students have, right? There's no challenge too big. We're ready to take on the world. That spirit, what I love is it continues to live in the society. You have that wonderful part of the rule that says no act of charity is foreign to the society. And what I've been telling people is that it's very much almost a startup mentality. That's something very, fresh in our country today is we've got, these startups and we have, they're going out there and doing incredible things. The society has that same startup mentality. Hey, let's try this. Hey, let's go there and do that. There's not a book of rules that we follow that says, oh, you have to start a scholarship program and then you have to do prison ministry and then you have to do food service. It literally is people coming together, and to me, it's the real showing forth of what the Second Vatican Council called for, and that is, let's involve the genius of the laity. And so these lay people are coming together. They have this wonderful love of God. They're looking for the face of Christ in the world, and they have that wonderful startup mentality that says, let's go give it a whirl. And it's got that freshness like the college students have of, there's no challenge too big, and we're going to go out there and face whatever God gifts us with. And that's another thing about the society is we don't, at least what I've seen, I keep saying we. Clergy can't be members of the society, but you know something, it's just infectious. The society doesn't say, well, there's a challenge we need to meet. The society says there's a blessing we need to find. Completely different way of looking at things. We're not going out and fighting against something bad. We're going out and finding what God has put out there for us.
The audience for this will be people that watch EWTN, but also the audience of Vincentians across all 50 states. The scholarship program seems like a good entry point. While no council need follow a specific model,
Right.
it seems like something unlike a dental clinic or a medical clinic that might be a little more vast geographically, for a smaller council. What would your message be to the Vincentians that watch this about keeping an open mind to this form of systemic change? Start somewhere. Give one away.
Right.
And then build from there.
For the Vincentians, I think probably the best thing I ever saw is I saw one of those infographics, that are very popular. And in it, it talked about these huge numbers. And, there's, hundreds of this and thousands of that and millions of those. But it all comes down at the very end of the graphic, and it is done one person at a time. And simply the whole idea of the one at a time scholarship program and the other programs you see here in Phoenix, it was all done because they saw one person had a need and one other person said, I can help meet that need. And that's all it is. And that, you know, so you can talk about, yes, the number of students we've helped and the $1 million+ that have been, you know, sent through the program. It was done one person at a time. It was not, which is the name of the program. It's not about huge things. It's not about huge programs. Systemic change takes place person to person to person, which is the role, the model of the society.
And then dovetailing now into our other story on all of the various food distribution, that person-to-person
Isn't it
contact,
amazing?
that one individual at a time, these are people that have been called to this ministry. It's
Yes.
not a ministry for everyone.
No.
Talk about the charism of this ministry. Who should it appeal to? If somebody's longing for that connection, that person-to-person contact,
Right.
this may be something that they check out.
Right. Are you talking now about the food boxes that are
Yeah,
going
I mean,
out one at a time?
or all that they do, just
Right.
that they're very creative and
They
very
are.
widespread in what they do,
Right.
but more the essence of Vincentians and all aspects of it, from sorting the cans to picking up the cans to chopping the vegetables to delivering meals and distributing food in the dining rooms. Who's called to this? If someone's on their couch watching this, why give this society an opportunity in their lives?
Yeah. What I think is wonderful about it, especially the food program that we have here, is that it can involve you no matter where you think your talents are. There are some people who love to go person to person, who love meeting people and engaging people. And there's that happens at the local conferences where they go out and they meet with the people who call and ask for aid and assistance. There might be people who are a little more shy. Gee, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could go to someone's house. That's all right. We have ways of doing that. Can you help pack a food box? Yeah, maybe I can do that. Can you help go to the store and help us pick up the products that are donated? Can you help us in your local parish, maybe with a food drive? Can you come down to our sorting facility? And I mean, it's a volunteer activity to stand and sort cans. It may not sound glamorous and, oh, well, what did you do to help the poor today? Oh, I sorted cans. How did you find the face of Christ today? Oh, I put a can of green beans over here. But you know something? If that's where your talents and your abilities are, on the kitchen side of things, you know, there are people who have wonderful culinary skills, or there are people who don't have wonderful culinary skills. But you know something? They can chop, they can sort, they can wash, they can open a can. And all of that is a participation in mission. You know, people look around today and they're looking for ways to get involved. It's my firm belief that people want to be involved. And what I love about the society, and especially in the food distribution program that we have here, we have those simple entry points. You know, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world and go out and do incredible person-to-person interviews and contacts. You can be a person, I can move a can from point A to point B. But you know something? You're participating in the mission. That is part of the mission to help overcome suffering. You know, that is part of the mission to seek the face of Christ in the world. Really? Sorting cans? Absolutely sorting cans. Because when you do it with that sense of mission, when you do it with that sense of love, it's an amazing thing. Vincentians do all those little behind-the-scene things that make all the big things that get notoriety possible. And so that's what I love about the society, is it offers you an opportunity to get involved at your level. What do you think you can do?
That's the service side of things.
Absolutely.
There's the spiritual growth that occurs. We interviewed a Vincentian earlier today, started in 1979.
Yeah.
While there's certainly been some folks because of health reasons or job-related reasons who've not been able to stay current with active membership. I don't know anybody now with my 10 years with the society that's dropped out because they wanted a different club or activity.
Exactly right.
They're getting something from not only that service to the folks in need, but there's a spiritual experience.
Yes.
Speak a little bit more of that charism, that spiritual growth that comes through this service.
I think that's probably the point, that spiritual growth that happens within Vincentianism, with the Vincentians themselves. I think that's a point that sometimes gets missed. You know, you take a look at, oh, well, they help the people in need. They're out there. Wonderful. They don't see that the first goal of the society is spirituality. And going out and exercising that call, that feeling that you get, like you said, sitting on the couch or wherever, gee, I could be involved, I could be doing something. That's a call from God. That's an inspiration of the Holy Spirit. It may not seem like it at the time, but when you give that inspiration a chance to work, when you put that inspiration into action, then it begins to grow. It starts this wonderful thing that, you know, as God continues to grace you in that ministry, you begin to understand what the grace of God is in your own life. When you begin to serve in that mission, when you begin to let that mission have an active part in your life, like I said, as simple as moving that can of green beans. I always use green beans, by the way, because I hate green beans. But the can of green beans, when it moves from place to place, you're letting God inspire you to do that. And anything that lets the Lord in any way, shape, or form, the Lord is going to take that opportunity. The Holy Spirit is going to take that opportunity to grow and strengthen and be an active part of your life. And then all of a sudden, you'll realize, wait a minute, this has helped me grow. This has helped me in my relationship. It's kind of stealthy, it's kind of sneaky. But you know something? If that's what it takes for the Lord, more power. Yeah.
So when you speak with Vincentians who may be tired or perhaps a little jaded, maybe that spirituality has fallen down a few pegs, and the sorting of the cans or the regular work that goes into this, because if you're trying to end poverty, it's a little bit of a daunting challenge. You may not be successful today, tomorrow, or for a while. So if you don't re-nourish on the spiritual side, this can be very difficult work and will beat you down. You've got to find something in this work that you can take home with you and feel good about to come back the next day.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they talk about that in priesthood and religious life as well. There's a lot of work to do, but you have to understand and constantly come back to that mission and that purpose. And with priests and religious, they ask us to pray on a regular basis to keep that connection. And the same with Vincentians as well. Yeah, the job out there, the task out there can be overwhelming. When you open up the food pantry and you see a line of people, waiting for assistance or help, it can really get you down. One of the wonderful things that we have here at the Phoenix.
Can I pause you for 1 second?
Sure.
I was hoping you were going to get through the end of that soundbite. The battery died in the mic. So.
Oh, in the mic.
Yeah. It was blinking, and I was like, oh, I hope it gets through.
Good news though, Paul got to the fly. With
Oh,
his bare hands.
I don't know. It was hovering around you there a little bit.
Yeah,
too.
I hit something.
Oh, is there another one?
No, I think we all got a piece
By
of
the
it.
way, this part of town.
We've all
lots
pinata
of flies. The riverbed is just right over there. And when we have a little bit of water,
Oh,
We all pinataed the fly. We all took a swing at it.
Should be still rolling. So.
excuse me. Oh.
Yep.
Where was I? Gee, I wasn't listening either.
You said something. Your last line was something about a line of people.
Oh,
But I don't.
yeah.
I'm talking about if you don't reinvigorate yourself
Yeah.
on the spiritual side. You know Mike Sislo?
I know Mike Ware.
Yeah,
well.
he said at an executive directors meeting, very cliche, right?
Right.
Sounding, if the conferences that pray together stay together, and the ones that don't tend to have the squabbles,
Right.
tend to have the type A's and the power trips and I've been to my own conferences meetings where they
Yeah.
they blow through the opening prayer, and we're
Yep.
45 minutes into the treasurer's report.
Yep.
The balance is off. If you don't keep that balance on the spiritual side, you may not be successful in ending poverty.
Right,
Individually. And you may, if that's the goal for you, it may be tough for you to accomplish that today or tomorrow. So you've got to find some other reinvigoration is where I'm going with that point.
Yeah, you certainly have to reinvigorate yourself, but something, what I really see like that opening prayer as part of the conference meetings is you're inviting God into the opportunities. If we try to do it on our own, you take a look at government programs that have existed for decades, and you don't see the rate of poverty changing all that much. You still see people suffering and people in need. The difference that Vincentians offer is that we invite God into the process. We say at the beginning of that council meeting, you know, the council meeting prayer, that opening prayer is divided so that there's an opening prayer, but we don't finish it, except at the closing prayer. We say that everything in the middle needs to be part of that prayer. Well, sometimes that happens. Sometimes it is a prayerful conference meeting. And so keeping that in mind, that this is mission-oriented, this is mission-driven, and that mission is to seek and find the face of Christ in others and for yourself. When you lose sight of that, and when you feel tired or worn down, that's the touchstone you need to come back to. And it's tough to do from time to time. It really is. But if we don't come back to that and we don't make it part of our prayer, you know, Lord, help me in this mission. Lord, I need your involvement in this mission. Personally, you know, humans alone, we can't get there. That's the story of the Old Testament, right? They tried to go out and do it themselves, and only when they invited the Lord in was it successful. The same thing with the society.
And the same thing on a home visit. Well, we say we go in pairs if we don't go with the accompaniment of the Holy Spirit. If we don't open the possibility to divine providence,
Yes.
we may find that hour-long meeting and that service in the pantry is more challenging.
Absolutely. Right, going out on those home visits, and that, I think, is where we really need the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, because we're walking into a new situation. We don't know what that person's story is. We don't know what brought them to these circumstances in their life. And we need to bring the Holy Spirit with us into those meetings, because then we can truly have that heart-to-heart contact. Then we can truly offer that look of love, which is Christ.
You know, no doubt through your years, in speaking from the pulpit, you never know what phrase may connect with someone.
Boy, howdy.
So as this airs, you'll be speaking to an audience of Vincentians active across the country, but also Catholics, others that watch EWTN. So I wrap up with twofold there, two-point question. What do you say to our Vincentians to reinvigorate themselves and keep open mind from food pantries to scholarships and all the things in between? And what about that Catholic or individual watching on their couch, the invitation to this special ministry?
To the Vincentians, as I turn to the rule. The rule of the society is one of the most spiritual documents I've ever read. In fact, that's what really kind of opened my heart to the society. When I read that rule and I saw that it is a beautiful program of spiritual growth and development, and understand that and see that and recognize the work of God there. I think back to a wonderful document of Pope St. John Paul II. He wrote a letter to families. And in that letter, he had a wonderful phrase. He said, "Families, be who you are." And then he went on for the whole rest of the letter and explained what the theological and practical realities of family life are. And that's what he was calling them to. So I would say to the Vincentians, be who you are. Vincentians, be who you are. Take a look at the rule, because that tells you in beautiful spiritual language what it is that the society is all about. To the person sitting on the couch who is considering, how do I get involved? Just take that step. Realize that they have an opportunity for you. It may be as small as moving that can of wonderful green beans. It may be as large as going out and actually meeting with families in need. There is an opportunity there. That little inkling you feel in your heart right now, that little desire to, gee, maybe I can help out, that's a call of the Holy Spirit. And maybe pray and ask the Lord to give you the strength to respond to that call.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.